Today we are breaking down the classic Beatles song Norwegian Wood, one of the better songs about burning down the house of your stingy mistress. And here is how it sounds. And we're going to stop it right there because that's all I really want to talk about, but really the rest of it is just G, so on and so forth. But basically this is a good example of using notes in a scale over one chord to create an atmosphere, and also just a quick thing about parallel minor. Basically this entire riff is built around a D major chord, and it's with a capo on the 2nd fret. So technically this is an E major chord, but I'm going to be talking about it in relation to the capo. So even though this is an E major, we're going to think of it as a D major because that's the shape we're going to use, okay? So basically it's in 3/4 timing, so we have a 1, 2, and 3 and strumming pattern. And the way we're going to play it is like this. Is going to be the first part. So we have a D chord, but I'm really going to focus on just this note right here as our melody. And this is going to be the 2nd fret on the G string, so we're going to call this an A. And basically we're going to hit the A first, and then finish that count of 3 on the chord. Note, 2 and 3 and. So 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. So we're going to have a chord and then a riff from the scale. And we're going to go through the parts first, and then we'll talk about the scale afterwards. But basically, we got this note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So after this first D chord, 1, 2, 3. It's all on the G string. 2 to 4, 2, open G, 4 D, which is an F sharp. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use a different voicing of this D major chord. Again, a D major chord is just any way you can combine a D, an F sharp, and an A. It doesn't matter what voicing it is. This could be a D major chord, this could be a D major chord, this could be a D major chord. Again, all relative to the capo. But the point here is we can have this inversion. So we have this riff that walks us back through the scale and ends us on this F sharp. So now if we make that same chord, I'm still thinking of a D major chord, but now this is going to be my root note here. So it's kind of an inversion where the root note is not the first note that's played. Same kind of deal. Note, 2 and 3 and into another 1, 2, 3, 4, like a 4-note riff, so part 2. So again, we start off with the regular D chord. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the next riff is going to be 2D, open G, 4D. So we started with this 2nd chord, which is the same chord, but an inversion of it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Open D, and now we can go back to the regular D chord voicing we used to begin with. Really it's just root, 2 and 3 and. Now after this we're going to do the last riff of this section. So after we do the root, 2 and 3 and C, which is 3 on the A string, open G, 2A, open A. And then we're going to kind of finish off that bar, okay? So again, that last part was just 3A, which is a C, to a G, to a B, to an A. So the whole thing, yeah? Okay, so now if we talk about the scale that goes with it, let's just play it in order from lowest to highest, all the notes that we just played, just in a consecutive order. We have A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. That's the highest one we get to, not counting the chord. So now, if we look at the key those notes are in, that's actually in the key of G, or E minor, same difference or relative keys. You might think this is in the key of D major, because D is such a centric tenet of this entire song, but if we see this C note right here, that kind of disqualifies D major from being the key. Again, what key it's in really doesn't matter as long as it sounds good, but it's just an interesting thing to think about that this C kind of disguises that it's in a different key, the key of G major, right? As far as just the notes that go into it. Again, not super important, but it's just kind of interesting thing to think about. So the next thing I want to talk about after this is where the song changes. And it goes from that whole thing, so. So we go from a D major to a D minor. So this is something that the Beatles actually use a lot, and it's really just kind of like a common songwriting technique. You could actually think of it as a parallel minor thing. Now, technically, if we're in the key of G, we're not doing a parallel minor thing. All parallel minor means is you're going from a major key to its minor key. So a D, if we were in the key of D major, and we suddenly switch to D minor, that would be going to its parallel key, right? It's like parallel minor, major minor. Same difference, you're taking a chord, and then you're changing it from major to minor. Again, not important what key you're in, it's just kind of thinking of something in parallel. And I think this technique, songwriting-wise, is something that once you kind of understand, you're going to start hearing it in a bunch of different songs. Just whenever a song or a part in a song goes from major to minor. It's a very distinct sound that your ears are going to pick up on pretty quickly if you just start to pay attention to it. So basically, that's the entire thing. Really interesting song. I think it's a really fun song to play on guitar. I actually kind of like the acoustic guitar version better than the actual recorded version just because it's such a good guitar song. So anyways, if you have any questions, please hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, the comments of the website, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.